You've accepted 14.
Well, I think that we are overflogging this matter.
Okay.
Can I go your constitution?
Right.
We are overflogging this matter.
Why?
Why? Because they keep making reference to Article 75 of the Constitution. And I will read part, and then I will explain in part what my position is on the matter. And in reference to that, it's always the case, the Gitmo case, when the U.S. had deported some, call it convicts in the U.S. To Ghana, and we accepted at the time to have them in Ghana. I think in 2015 or 2016, one of them. And then somebody went to court. I don't remember who went to court.
It was Nana B and one
Nana B.
Bamfo.
That's true. That's true. Went to court, and the Supreme Court at the time gave a ruling.
Right.
And tried to give expression to Article 75 and say the president may execute or cause to be executed treaties, agreements, or conventions in the name of Ghana. A treaty, agreement, or convention executed by or under the authority of the president shall be subject to ratification by a act of parliament or a resolution of parliament supported by the vote of more than 1/2 of the members of parliament. And the Supreme Court gave voice to this in relation to what constitutes a treaty, an agreement under the UN conventions and also under the ECOWAS treaties that Ghana has entered into. The bottom line in all this matter is that the Gitmo case has no resemblance to this particular case. The Gitmo case were people who the US had incarcerated and then were given to Ghana. They were foreign nationals. They were not nationals of any West African origin. Already based on the ECOWAS treaty, Ghana being party to already give ECOWAS citizens 90 days in Ghana to find their feet. And then after 90 days it expires, you have to go and come in again. That's if you want to keep going on the 90 days period. And that's for only West African nationals. These people being repatriated are not criminals. We've got to get this clear. These are people who are just being deported from the US for being an illegal immigrants. They are not criminals, and we need to clear that clearly. Number two, the people being deported are people who are of West African origin. The U.S. in this agreement or MOU, call it an MOU with the parties, signed an MOU with Ghana, with Eswatini, with Rwanda, with two more of them, and all of them were receiving some number of their indigents, especially in the region. So, for instance, in West Africa, Ghana is the one representing West Africa. Ghana has always boasted of being the gateway to West Africa. What did we mean when we say gateway to West Africa? What did we mean when we say that we are good neighbors? What do we mean when we say we are hospitable? And these are people who have gone abroad for one of maybe seeking greener pastures, if you want to call it, in the U.S., but were hitherto being held as illegal immigrants because they had no papers. And because they had no papers, you cannot also work and have a decent living. People living in conditions that were below human dignity. The U.S. reached some MOU agreement with Ghana and say, well, we have a couple of your people coming to Ghana. It will be out of too much work to say that if you have 3 Nigerians in Ghana, fly an aeroplane all the way from the US, go to Nigeria, come to Ghana, go to Cote d'Ivoire, that sort of thing. And the US, knowing that Ghana does have some bilateral agreement with our neighbors, decided to choose Ghana as the destination for some of these people. 11 have arrived so far. Some 40 more, we are told, should be coming in much later. Now, how do I go to Parliament? I will go to Parliament based on specifics. You don't go to Parliament saying that we are expecting some deportees, and so we don't even know the number yet. When we know the number, we'll communicate, but give us ratification. First of all, what is the meaning of ratification? Ratification in law simply is an act committed by a public officer who is duly allowed to commit, but that act has to be was endorsed by another body, checks and balances. and it's always in a later date. Of course, the constitution is not clear as to how many days that should last, but some rulings, court rulings, or what you call judicial decisions have given credence to how long some of these ratifications to be done. For instance, in corporate affairs, you will say that in 14 days, some of those decisions should have been ratified. So it is not true that the decision to accept these deportees from the US, who are West African citizens, who have a right to enter Ghana with or without visa, to enter into Ghana. And so the president has taken them on. Number three, it is also clear that these are not criminals, as the MPP seeks to put out that Ghana is at risk and our sovereignty is at risk and all that, and criminals will come in and all that. They create all kinds of situations out of it. The other thing is that government of Ghana has not received a dime from the US in terms of monetary support to be disclosed as they are putting out. What benefit did we get? What did we get out of that? What did we get out of that? You remember some years ago, the US established a US command in this country. Yes. You remember? Mm-hmm. Now, in establishing that command, what was the procedure in establishing that command in this country? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of uproar at the time. We should go to Parliament. Parliament has to give that sovereignty. It happened under President Kufuor. What was President Kufuor's response at the time? There are some decisions that are taken by the executive. In real life, the president of the republic, that are security decisions. And those decisions are taken and later ratified. The other part of this whole discourse is that the Ghana government has indicated clearly that these people that are coming in, we, as part of the MOU, we have agreed to screen them. And so we have a right to reject or to admit who comes into our country. If the person that is coming has a criminal record, violent criminal record, or has been incarcerated in the US, or jailed for a violent crime and all that, the US itself may not even release those people to us because we don't have any agreement with Ghana on passing on of criminals, either to who are of Ghanaian origin when they do that in the US and they're incarcerated. So some of those people will not even come here. These are just people walking the street of America who don't have papers, who are illegal, and so the US government, based on Donald Trump's immigration laws, new laws, decided to ship them out of their country. Should we not be proud as Ghanaian, you and I, including the MPP, that Ghana is still shining that torch very brightly in the South region to accept some of these people and then repatriate them to their various countries? It is not even as though that the agreement or the MOU that the government of Ghana signed with the US or had an agreement with the US, or whether verbal or written with the US, indicated that the people coming to Ghana must live in Ghana. That's not the case. They are just here as a transit point. How many people that transit through Ghana are required to do some of these things we are saying? On a daily basis, a lot of aircrafts transit through this country. But because they are, of West African origin, they could get off the plane and do whatever they want to do and go back if they so wish. So the ministry has explained that these people are going back to their various countries. The ministry has also explained that these are not criminals. The ministry has also expressed, the desire to vet. And this is part of the MOU with the US, that we will vet the people that you hand over to us. We're not just going to allow them into our country because we won't take any criminal, dissident into our country, and we'll do due diligence in that matter. The MPP keeps calling for ratification and all that. I don't think it's far-fetched. The president hasn't ruled out the possibility of a ratification plan. But we want to be sure how many people are coming in. What are the names of these people? As we speak, we don't even know the names of the people, the other 40 that should join. What are you taking to Parliament? And what is Parliament ratifying if the details are not yet out? Again, the last part, which for me, the MPP should exercise some restraint, is that in all these their deliberations, they are quick to say, we'll go to the Supreme Court. We'll go to the Supreme Court. Well, I don't think anybody is stopping the MPP from going to the Supreme Court on a review on this matter. Yes, they claim that there's already a decided case on that matter. Go to the Supreme Court, cite that decided case, make your claims, and let the Supreme Court take a decision on this matter, whether it required ratification and all that. Then you also don't understand what they actually mean in some of these. You see, in law, there are some things that are crimes. We will call them crimes, but they won't qualify in the word crime because there's no punishment prescribed for them. Once you can call it a crime, but once there's no punishment written and prescribed by law for it, it's not a crime. They may as well serve as a guide for you not to do some of the things that we do. So for a whole minority to go on this tangent for days and weeks on this matter, I think they should cut the president some slack in terms of how he runs this country, what he views as issues that should go to parliament. And they are also making a mistake because right there in parliament where they have some of these things going on, they could have filed a question for the minister to come and answer. And then in answering some of these questions, the basis will be clear. Even if that has been done already, the basis would have been clear. The press conferences, the demonstrations, the casting of aspersions, the insinuations, we see it more as an attempt for the MPP to get some credibility in the space of politics in this country as we speak. Because it does appear as though everything now is press conference, everything now is demonstration, everything now is about who can shout the loudest or who is more powerful in the MPP and who wants to be heard and who shouldn't be heard. For me, there are more cogent matters the MPP should be looking at, which would get this country maybe on another level, faster development, faster progress than we are seeing today. It looks as though demonstration and press conference seems to be the only solution they prefer in some of these issues. And then threats and all that. You have a national organizer who is on TV shouting and screaming and saying that if government doesn't do it, we'll do this, we'll do that. If you believe in the rule of law, go to court. Very simple. And the minister would be asked to answer questions. You have an attorney general who is also a member of parliament right with them. And nobody seems to even inquire. Oh, Mr. Attorney General, what is your position on this matter? Or Foreign Minister, come and give us the reasons for which. The minister has been speaking and speaking and speaking very loudly. So it's a press conference that is much about nothing. And I see several pages of the press conference going back and forth and over on this matter. We thought that by now they would have been in court. I don't know if I'm not privy to that. We thought that by now they would have been in court in challenging the decision of the minister and the president in that matter. And we will all be save our ears, the noise, the threats, the assumptions and all the insinuations that is being cast all around the place. We will serve Ghana good if they will go to court on this matter. We are people believing in the rule of law. We do expect that they should go to court on this matter. And the court will give directives on what should be done, rather than the press conferences.
I see.